It was Christmas Eve, snow falling like tiny diamonds across the empty city streets, but in the tallest glass tower of Ridgewood City, the lights of the CEO's office still burned bright. Daniel Grant, the man known as the youngest billionaire in the country, was sitting behind his desk staring blankly at his reflection on the window. The world saw him as powerful, confident, and untouchable, but tonight, he felt like a ghost in his own life. No family, no laughter, just silence echoing in a mansion that could hold 100 people but had room for no love. Daniel used to love Christmas. He once believed in warmth, family, and second chances. But that was before life took away everything that mattered: his parents in a car crash when he was 25, his fiancée who left when she realized Daniel would always choose work over her, and his younger brother, who hadn't spoken to him in years. All he had now was success, a hollow, glittering cage built from ambition. As the clock struck midnight, Daniel finally left the office, driving his black SUV through the nearly deserted streets. He wasn't going home to celebrate, he was going home to forget. But fate had other plans. When he arrived at his mansion, something unusual caught his attention. There was a small red envelope wedged between the iron gates, decorated with glitter, snowflake stickers, and crooked handwriting that read, "To Mr. CEO, from the Triplet Christmas Angels." Daniel frowned. He looked around but saw no one. Curiosity pulled him in as he tore the envelope open. Inside was a letter written in 3 different handwritings, each one childish but heartfelt. "Dear Mr. CEO," it began, "we know you live alone. We see your big house every day when we walk home from school. Mommy says rich people are always happy, but you don't look happy when you come home late. We made you cookies, and we hope they make you smile. Merry Christmas. Love, Emma, Ella, and Emily, the Triplet Angels. P.S. Don't tell Mommy, we wanted it to be a secret surprise." For the first time in years, Daniel smiled. A real one. He hadn't felt something so pure and innocent in so long that it made his chest ache. He looked down beside the letter and saw a small basket covered in a checkered cloth. Inside were 3 gingerbread cookies shaped like hearts, slightly burnt, uneven, but made with love. Something inside Daniel stirred. He didn't know these girls, but somehow, they saw through the wall he'd built. The next morning, Christmas Day, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about them. Who were these triplets? Where did they live? Why would children care about a stranger who never smiled? He decided to find them. He asked his housekeeper, Mrs. Helen, if she'd seen anyone near the gate the night before. She smiled gently. "Sir, there's a small house down the hill. A widow lives there with her 3 daughters. They're sweet girls, always kind, even though they have very little." Without thinking twice, Daniel grabbed his coat and drove down the hill. The small house was little more than a cottage, paint chipped, the fence broken, and smoke rising from a tiny chimney. Through the frosty window, Daniel saw 3 little girls wearing mismatched pajamas, dancing around a worn-out Christmas tree with paper ornaments. Their laughter filled the air. Then he saw her, their mother. She looked young, maybe in her early 30s, with tired eyes and a smile that didn't fade despite the struggle in her face. She was setting the table with only 2 plates of food, soup and bread. Daniel hesitated, unsure how to approach. But then one of the girls, Emma, spotted him outside and gasped, "Mommy, the CEO is here." The woman froze, turning toward the window. Their eyes met. For a moment, Daniel saw shock, then confusion, then something else, embarrassment. She rushed to open the door, brushing snow off her sleeves. I'm sorry, Mr. Grant," she stammered. If the girls did something inappropriate, Daniel shook his head softly. They didn't. In fact, they did something wonderful. The triplets giggled behind their mother, peeking from the doorway. "Did you like our cookies?" Ella asked shyly. Daniel smiled, kneeling down. "They were the best cookies I've ever had." The woman looked speechless. "Please, come inside," she finally said. The warmth hit Daniel immediately, not from the old fireplace, but from the feeling that this tiny, struggling family had something his mansion never did: heart. They shared their little meal, and Daniel listened to the girls talk about their dreams: to buy a big Christmas tree next year, to surprise their mom with a fancy dinner, and to have enough money to buy shoes that matched. He learned their mother's name was Grace Miller, a widow who lost her husband 2 years ago in a construction accident. She worked 2 jobs to raise her daughters, barely making ends meet. Yet, she never complained. She taught her girls to see the good in everyone, even a lonely CEO in a mansion on the hill. By evening, Daniel couldn't leave. He felt something changing inside him. The triplets had given him more than cookies, they'd given him a reason to feel again. Over the next few weeks, Daniel began visiting often. He'd drop off groceries, by accident, fix their leaking roof, and even read bedtime stories to the girls. Grace protested at first, not wanting charity, but she soon saw that Daniel wasn't doing it out of pity, he was doing it out of love. But not everyone understood. Daniel's board members began questioning his judgment. "You're the CEO of Grant Enterprises, not some holiday volunteer," one of them sneered. "This could ruin your image." Daniel's reply was simple. "Maybe it's time my image changed." Still, Grace struggled with guilt. She didn't want to be seen as someone who saved the billionaire from loneliness. One night, she told him, "Daniel, you have a whole world waiting for you. You don't belong here with us." He looked at her, eyes soft. "Grace, this is the first place I've ever felt I truly belong." Tears filled her eyes. "But I have nothing to give you." He smiled. "You already did. You gave me Christmas again." The following Christmas, Ridgewood City was abuzz with rumors. Daniel Grant, the untouchable CEO, had hosted a massive charity gala for single parents and children in need. The star guests, 3 little girls in matching red dresses and their mother, standing proudly beside him. When the girls handed Daniel another red envelope that night, the crowd watched as he opened it. Inside was a drawing, him, holding their hands in front of a Christmas tree. Underneath, in crayon letters, it read, "Now you have a family too." And just like that, the man who once thought love had no place in his life found everything he never knew he needed. In a letter, 3 little girls, and the woman who taught him that even the loneliest hearts can find their way home again.